Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of martial arts, but not a master of automobiles. But I am the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today is Thursday. It's a live action series, which means 3 more episodes of the fabulous Green Hornet. And these are some good ones. They're pretty straightforward, no two-parters, but I liked them, and I think everyone should as well. It's too bad this show just did not find its audience because it really could, especially they didn't showcase Kato and get some better day for night shooting. Be that as it may, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Really like the comments. Other than that, let's just get on with this. All right, here we go.
Another challenge for the Green Hornet, his aide Kato, and their rolling arsenal, the Black Beauty.
And that comes true. The rolling arsenal thing is proven in these 3 episodes. But here we have, what do we have here? A break-in? Oh, the cops have been called. And it's Mike Axford. Dun, dun, dun. Deadline for death. So there's a rash of burglaries happening, and Mike is on the trail. Unfortunately, when Mike got there, they found a butler who'd been wounded and then dies, and they caught Mike because he ran from the cops, which, you might do under duress, of course. And Scanlan's he's pretty sure it's Mike. So this episode here is was originally broadcast. Where does this say it? Come on. December 2nd, 1966. And it is the 12th episode. I don't know if it's still in the same shooting order or what have you, because we do know they went out of order. But Scanlan's like, I think he's guilty. This does have a very fun surprise guest villain, which I didn't even recognize at first. But you'll know him, or well, we'll talk about him, of course. So Mike's in jail. He's spending the night there under Murder 1, which apparently you can't get out on bail even if you have a clean record. So, and this is his photographer that's been going around with the homes. Do you think she's in on it? Even though Mike says she's innocent, she's in on it. That's Yale Barton, her accomplice there. Now, we can't quite get a good look at him here, but we will in a moment. So, of course, Kato and the Green Hornet go out to horn in on that because they have to prove Mike innocent. And it's just a nice shot of the Black Beauty. And they go over to old, let's see, what was her name? Artis Ralston, portrayed by Linda Day George, who, that name sounds vaguely familiar. She was Lisa Casey for 44 episodes in Mission Impossible, probably toward the end there. And even the sequel from 89. And she was Fausta Grabels in Wonder Woman. Interesting, we were just talking about Wonder Woman, huh, Lilith? Anyway, she's up and left. And there's Tubbs. Now, Crockett's nowhere to be found, and Tubbs looks a little different. That's Jacques Abouchan. I don't know what else he's been in. Famous for The Silver Chalice, Shirley Temple's Storybook, and Thunder Road. But he was calling to find out something, and he's their fence. And there he is again. Now you get a better look at him, and you might recognize him. He also was a sheriff in a later show in the late 70s. And the Hornet horns in on Tubbs. It's like, I've helped you before, Tubb. I've helped you before, Hornet, which, but unfortunately, he plants a bug, but Yale's men off Tubbs. Tubbs is gone. Crockett is going solo. And you listen to the recording. They find out the phone number. They give her a call. It's an answering service, which is very interesting. Now, kids, that's a switchboard operator. You used to have to ring them up to get you connected to somebody in any back in the old days. Watch Andy Griffith, you'll find out. Barton's, so Hawkeye's involved here too. Must have been before he reformed and joined the Avengers. There he is. Q, boss hog. Those darn Duke boys. It is indeed James Best, the future Roscoe P. Coltrane, portraying a pretty cold villain here. Now the Hornet gets a long fight sequence here. I mean, he takes on about 5 guys. They eventually, knock him down and don't unmask him. They just say, "Let's go." Artis has had enough, and she wants to. They've locked him in there, so Kato gets to use the Hornet sting. They chase down a plane, and see once again the rolling arsenal lets out the smoke. We've seen that before in the past to trick the villains into thinking that the Black Beauty's been damaged. But they get out. I had to brighten these a bit just to even get it. I think they did shoot this like late evening, but just to even try to get some nice shot of Kato, who does not get to fight a lot. There's our hero, Space Ghost. I mean, Gary Owens, the voice of Space Ghost, and Roger Ramjet, and many others. And then they've cleared everybody. They've cleared Mike. And now we're on to the next episode. So, it was a fun episode. It moves along in a hurry. Just the best episodes. So the Sally Bell there is a junker now. This episode was aired December 9th, 1966, of course. And I don't think there's anyone really in here that we know that would be famous. So, but Hornet's there to talk to this Bert Selden, who shoots at him. Notice Kato's got his Hornet darts there. The Hornet uses the sting, which of course makes him fall off and crack his head. So the secret of the Sally Bell begins. He takes him he's like, I don't want him to die. Because he wants to find out where the narcotics are. That's the MacGuffin there. That's Beth Brickle as Dr. Hannah Thomas, who is not afraid of the Hornet, which is pretty interesting there. She was in Gentle Ben, Hawaii Five-0, two episodes of she was in 56 episodes of Gentle Ben, which shows I've not seen in quite some time, starring little Clint Walker, a.k.a. Baylock from the Corbomite maneuver from Star Trek, who likes his Tranya. See, it's always a connection. So, Van's a good-looking guy. She's like, he's like, here he is, fix him. He's got a concussion, so may or may not come out of it. What's this? The bad guys what are they watching there? And the theme song plays for about 3 minutes straight. He yells at him, "You're watching Batman." Now, we do know that the Green Hornet does meet Batman later on, and we will review that. But have they met before? Let's find out.
Gee whiz, Batman. Dropping in on a drugstore might have been easier.
Exercise never hurt anyone, Robin. We must always keep the element of surprise on our side.
What are you doing here?
I might ask you the same question.
Pursuing the enemies of law and order wherever they happen to be.
Aren't you in the wrong city?
On special assignment for the Daily Sentinel. You know my aide, Kato?
Robin, the boy wonder.
Well, I don't want to hold you up from your crime fighting.
Thank you, and good luck to you, Mr. Hornet.
Nice to have met you.
Gosh, Batman, what are they dressed like that for?
Well, look at that. They did meet, and they knew each other as crime fighters. That's interesting. Well, it's the if you take the cameos in the window cameos where they meet Lurch and Colonel Clank, who's in World War II. Oh, gun, that is not so funny. You'll never get anywhere. But this is something that never happened to Batman. He got his program interrupted by a special news flash. So, bad guys go off they abscond with the doctor by wearing nylons over their heads. Who thought you wouldn't be able to recognize these people? Um, let's see if we can find out if I think that's Gus Wander as the bad guy, or Jack Denbo. The Hornet announces they're coming up with it, and they shoot they like, well, we'll just blast them when they, in the elevator. Now, the cockroaches from, I don't know, where were they from in Godzilla versus Gigan? Not my favorite Godzilla movie, but they did the same thing, much to their regret. But of course, they knew that was going to happen, and the Hornet once again talks to Dr. Thomas, and they want to get him fixed because they want a cut of the narcotics, allegedly. There's old Honey Boy, played by Timothy Scott. He's a hired assassin here. And let's see if we can find out. Oh, he was in Footloose, Fried Green Tomatoes. So he's probably pretty young at this point in time. Does it say when he was born? 1937. So he was 2 years older than my sainted mother. Died at 57 and 95. So let's see what else we got. Blue Sky, anything? Turn to Lonesome Dove, one of my sainted mother's favorite shows. The Wild West. Oh, that's not the Wild Wild West. Never mind. Chattahoochee. Oh, Alien Nation. Watch that show. Anyway, he's not a very good. Well, he's not a very good shot, so you don't have to worry about him. Anyway, they got 5 minutes to get out of there now. Once the bad guys go off, old Bert there tells them where the narcotics are. He signals Scanlan. They've got 5 minutes. Unfortunately, Honey Boy starts shooting at him. Kato wants to go get him, and he's like, not enough time. Like, oh, come on. That would have been a fun. See, now they'd have had him hopping and jumping, and the cops are on their way. And look, he's got a remote control, and he's driving the rolling arsenal. There we have it again. Where they use the rockets. They're threatening to use the rockets. They blow it up. Kato gets a nice flying kick in there. And I'm sorry it's not any clearer. Come on, Warners, get this out on Blu-ray legitimately, and with all those extras you can. I mean, I'll double dip for a legit copy. The Hornet gives him a boot to somewhere, and then he says, she's like, well, you could have run away, and she's like, I know, and he's like, you'll probably be safer with the cops. She's like, maybe. And now Mike, so the denouement, Mike's all wound up that somebody wanted to run a personal for the man in the green mask who needed an immediate physical. Now, this woman wants to play doctor with the Green Hornet. Thinks she'd want to leave the mask on just in case she wouldn't be disappointed with what was under it. And but of course, Britt's too smooth to fall for that, or too smart. But he says, well, who's that doctor? And he gives her a name, and he says, we're going to honor her for being so brave and helping out. And Casey's like, are you going to have a private lunch with her or dinner afterward? And he's like, that's a great idea, Casey. So either he's oblivious or he's just tormenting her. And Mike's like, I can't believe it's a great idea, but she wants to examine the Green Hornet when we can't catch him. And she's like, well, she just might. And that's the wrap up for that episode, because of course it's got to end up with a humorous situation. All right, then our start of our final episode, which is called Freeway to Death. Now Mike is once again in the thick of it. He's out there trying to get some dirt on who's running the rackets this time, which is, somebody else with a Star Trek connection. Dun, dun, dun. So there are no extra women in this. It's just Casey. But look, it's Killdozer. And Mike almost falls, but the Hornet shows up and destroys it. Apparently killed the guy on top of it. Now, they didn't always kill the bad guys, but they weren't squeamish about if they had to. And they grab Mike and tell him, you're going to work with us. And Mike's all, no, you ask your boss. I know Britt Weed. He won't tell me to work with him. That's what they're doing right now. And Britt says, you go work with him. Work with the Hornet. So Mike's all, because... So there you go. It's Crown Construction, and Emmett Crown is our lead malefactor today. Now, you don't recognize him there, but later on the same year, he was in a pilot episode, or maybe probably earlier in the year that he did. It had to get a second pilot and then even a third pilot. You see where I'm going here? It's Captain Pike, Captain Christopher Pike, not the first captain of the Enterprise, but the one who Captain James Tiberius Kirk succeeded. He did a lot of stuff after that, so don't feel bad for him that he didn't get to be on Star Trek. I don't know how that would have worked with Spock yelling all the time. Just it was that pilot's just an interesting thing to watch. I do like the idea of number one being, well, she became Nurse Chapel. It was, but they couldn't have. See, NBC did not want to have a female and a woman in charge of the ship, second in command. Anyway, oh, they try to kill Britt right there, and now I think Britt's really having. I mean, I can't believe Mike's dumb enough not to recognize him. I mean, obviously the car wouldn't be this well lit, so it would be dark. You couldn't see him right. He probably changed his voice, much like Batman, and well, much like Superman did way back in the cartoons. Would change his voice from meek and mild Clark Kent to "This is a job for Superman." So Batman did not start that. We'll have to review those. Maybe we'll do those cartoons next. They're public domain-ish. So the fight breaks out. We get to see it's nice and well lit. Kato gets some good shots here, and this exchange, he knows where to hit him. Nothing like it on time. It's very straightforward. It's almost like karate. And believe me, if anyone has unagi, it's Kato. Mike tries to hit a guy, gets knocked out. And I think this guy, I think that he might have hit him. Kato might have kicked him in the stomach. But, it sure looks like he might have kicked him a little lower, too. And there's another Hornet dart. And I don't know why they could have marketed this stuff. Oh, my gosh. Probably were smart not to market these things unless they had suction cups on them, because little brothers would have been targeted a lot. Not that I would know this. So there's our second in command. And the Hornet wants a piece of the action. And now the guy Emmett calls up and says, "You got to meet me here." And he tells, oh, actually, that's not it. Anyway, then the Hornet calls, allegedly. Notice how he's got his voice scrambler on it, and tells him what's going on. Have you heard from him? And Mike just lies to the Hornet because he doesn't care. Hornet's a bad guy. And Casey's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm going. I don't need the Hornet's help." So of course he does, because he wants to pretend like he's trying to blackmail him, which he should have just said, "I want to join the gang." But Mike's not the smartest bulb in the box. Once again, Skyline Freeway, the Hornet comes to the rescue, and now we get to see the rolling arsenal truly in action. The rockets and the Hornet mortar. It's like 9 of those things. Where on earth are they storing that? I think the Black Beauty might be part TARDIS, and Kato could have invented a pocket universe to store these things in, but because they can't get through the blade, although they never. Well, I think they hit it on the side, but straightforward. There's 3 of them, and it just runs over. I don't know if that's Mike's car. No, it'd be the bad guy's car, so they couldn't get away. Just blows things up, and they're like, "What?" I bet. Emmett Crown wished he was back on the bridge of the Enterprise. And now, see, they blow him up. They just did. They use all the mortars at once just to terrify these guys. The fight begins, and once again, day for night. Kato it's a good fight scene. Like I said, they are showcasing Kato more, and that happens more, as it goes on, as the show goes on. But it's just so dang dark, and I get it. I understand why they're doing it. Guys in masks can look really silly, but you got to run with it and just think everyone's going to accept it and own it. More fight scene, and the Hornet says, "Okay, Axford, they're all yours," and just leaves. So next day, back at the Daily Sentinel, Mike's reading his story and his byline, and Britt kind of leans on him about going against his orders, and then he tells this whopper about how he talked to the Hornet because of course. Who's going to say he didn't? He's like, "Yeah, he knew what I was doing," even. And Casey's like, no, it's not what you told me. And he's like, oh, it was a plan with the Hornet and me. So, and the Hornet's not as smart as people think he is. And then Casey, I just love the look on her face. She's like, let me tell him, let me tell him. And he's like, then what? Spoil all his fun? So he's out there telling another whopper to everybody. And I'm sure they're quite familiar with Mike Exford's Blarney. And then it ends. So here's some of the ending credits. I didn't know we were going to get that. I hadn't had any on my set. So the popular radio dramas of the Green Hornet. George W. Trendle, one of the most prolific writers of all time. Once again, creator of The Lone Ranger. Al Hurt, that's him on the trumpet. And the rest of the music, it's good. It's well scored. I mean, it's well directed. And those are our 2 episodes. I'm going to have a little surprise at the end here, since I don't really want to play anymore. I didn't even play the rest of the music, but we'll just play the rest of the intro here on the way out. But until our next assignment, agents, look at there's the Stinger, the Stinger and the Hornet darts. Should be called Kato darts or something. Kato really should have had a cool title. However, until our next assignment, this is X7, and let's roll, Kato.
On police records, a wanted criminal, the Green Hornet is really Britt Reed, owner-publisher of the Daily Sentinel. His dual identity known only to his secretary and to the district attorney. And now, to protect the rights and lives of decent citizens, rides the Green Hornet.
Bruce Lee as the incomparable Kato, king of Kung Fu. Van Williams as the Green Hornet. See him play the game of death. The dragon enters the den of the secret Chinese cult. Bruce Lee in his most exciting adventure. Kato, invincible against the terror of the Tong. Bruce Lee is Kato. No one can stop him. See the fury of his flying feet. Bruce Lee, in his most famous role, battles the fanatical Lo Sing in a kung fu fight to the death. Bruce Lee is Kato in The Green Hornet, coming soon to this theater.